Today we're going to cover how Autodesk BIM 360, which is a cloud-based web platform, allows a project team to collaborate both in the field and with the office, as well as with multiple consultants. Let me just double check one thing here. My apologies. As I'm sure everyone knows, Autodesk products have mainly been focused on architecture and engineering disciplines for quite some time. But they're now putting a lot of resources into embracing the workflow for contractors and how BIM applications can be weaved into that process. BIM 360 provides applications for all phases of design and construction, from design and pre-construction to field execution, all the way through to handover and operations. Here's a quick rundown of what I'd like to cover today. So first off, we'll take a look at how to track the design process with version history, commenting, and model comparison. Then we'll touch on how a team can work on a single Revit cloud model simultaneously. And we'll also review how to open, view, and markup drawings for and from the team, all from your desktop, smartphone, or tablet. And then finally, we'll take a look at how we can track contract administration, like creating issues, RFIs, submittals, field logs, those types of things. But before we get into exploring BIM 360 and its advantages, I want to first discuss some of the shortcomings of our current workflows in terms of collaboration and transferring of information. So this slide here shows some numbers from a study conducted by PlanGrid and FMI Corporation in 2018. You can see that they found that quite a bit of time and money was being spent on what they called quote-unquote low-value activities. For example, the VDC, or the Virtual Design and Construction Manager, was spending roughly 14.42 hours per week on these low-value administrative activities, thus resulting in an annual impact of over $33,000 just for the VDC. And you can see here on the right that a firm of this size was wasting almost $2.5 million per year annually on these low-value administrative activities. So clearly, we should be trying to minimize these activities and costs. But how do we start to minimize those low-value activities that are costing companies time, money, and productivity? There's obviously no magic wand, but there are solutions to help us move in the right direction. One such solution is BIM 360 from Autodesk. As you can see on this slide, a study by the Boston Consulting Group has shown that by implementing cloud technology solutions, companies can have seen up to a 15% decrease in project lifecycle costs and a potential decrease of 30% in construction time. Now, again, there is no magic wand, and those numbers do seem a little lofty from my perspective. But ultimately, the point is that companies can realistically save time, energy, money by using technology solutions to help streamline our day-to-day processes, and possibly, just as important, create better communication between the disparate teams that we have today. Let's take a step back and look for a minute at what is actually contributing to these quote-unquote low-value activities. The main factor is the siloed nature of the way we currently work. So different teams, i.e. the architect, the contractor, subcontractors, etc., all have different scopes of work, obviously, milestones and deliverables. They're all juggling data and handover and coordination, as well as different contract requirements. All of this leads to this low-value activity time being spent coordinating, reviewing, and then re-coordinating that information again and again. On top of that, that information is being housed in various locations, company servers, email, cloud storage sites, etc., which only complicates matters. So as I'm sure many of you are aware, there are countless apps to help with these processes. And while there's benefits to all of those applications, the problem still is that information is then siloed in those individual applications for the most part. So we still have the problem of out-of-date information, incorrect communications to subs and trades, and errors in rework. Every single time a handover occurs between teams or across phases, a data loss occurs, leading to inefficiency and risk. As a result, traditional methods are seemingly less and less adequate as time goes on. So now, BIM 360 can help combat these issues. Autodesk is focused on bringing technologies together so that everyone has the same info at their fingertips, what they refer to as the single source of truth. And most importantly, it can be accessed anytime, anywhere in both the office and the field. So for those unfamiliar with BIM 360, what is it? Basically, BIM 360 is a collection of modules, which are essentially a set of tools built into a platform for specific phases of a project, all accessed through the cloud. Ultimately, access to the project information anytime and anywhere should enable the team to be more productive with their time by reducing those low-value administrative tasks like transcribing notes or updating, creating reports, or even running back to the trailer to grab the most recent set of drawings. Before we dig into any one module, I wanted to provide an overview of the various BIM 360 products or modules, like I said, as they're called, that are available to us. So BIM 360 Docs is the document management application, provides an unlimited storage and supports up to 60 plus file types. It is the single source of truth I mentioned because all project info is housed in one location, available to all contributors on a project. All modules we discuss here today are built on the BIM 360 Docs platform. BIM 360 Design is the module that allows team members from multiple sites or offices to collaborate on Revit models in the cloud at the same time. BIM Coordinate is formerly known as Glue, is a shared project space for coordination and performing clash detection, among other things. And BIM 360 Build provides a platform for construction project management, like creating and organizing and sending submittals and RFIs, as well as field management, like creating and maintaining checklists, issues, logs, safety, scheduling, those types of things. The quote-unquote field app gives you the ability to track all of these activities on a job site through mobile devices by accessing all that information through the cloud. Additionally, there's also 3 other modules, which we're not going to be getting into much here today, but I still wanted to mention them to give you an idea of the breadth of the BIM 360 offerings. So BIM 360 Plan is an application that allows users to create work plans in list, Gantt, or swim lane diagrams, and it can also review team performance and run reports to help spot trends and guide corrective action. BIM 360 Layout is used with mobile devices in the field to assist in laying out points in the field, or the reverse in terms of sending information back from the field to the model in an office. And finally, BIM 360 Ops assists in creating simple and clean handoff of the building operation teams by providing the as-built model and all information collected in BIM 360 for use in the building maintenance. So just to recap the last couple slides, here's kind of an overview of the 4 modules that we'll be discussing today and the main tools that they provide access to. So again, you can see that BIM 360 Docs supports all of the other modules because it houses all the project information, files, and so on and so forth used by each module. One thing I want to note on this slide is the Insight module noted at the bottom is not something we'll be reviewing in this webinar, but it is a module which can be accessed by the BIM 360 website admins and certainly provided to other users if the admin chooses, where all of the data in the BIM 360 platform can be used to create reports and analytics for each individual project. So this can be used to help get you up to speed with what's going on in a project, assess trends and patterns through the project data, identify any gaps or problems, and use predictive risk data to start to improve project efficiency. So, as mentioned, many problems from the office of job sites, anything from cost overrun to delays in rework, occur in some part because project teams don't have access to the most current set of documents at all times. So enter BIM 360 Docs. The Docs module has been built to solve these document management problems. It does this through versioning control and project history so that everyone on the team knows they are working with the most up-to-date information. It provides tools for publishing, for managing, reviewing, and approving all project plans, models, and documents from the earliest phase of a project all the way through to owner occupancy. And as mentioned, it is a cloud-based platform, and it's accessed from a web browser. So you have access through a desktop or mobile device, allowing for anywhere, anytime collaborative access for the entire project team. The first step in setting up a BIM 360 site involves creating users and companies. These essentially act as the way to control the users and the information on the BIM 360 web portal. We're not going to cover this too much, but I wanted to discuss the idea of configurable roles to set the stage for permissions, which we'll be talking about in the next slide. Basically, configurable roles allow a company to set folder or file access permissions by role, by the role that the person has on a given team. So for example, if you wanted to give every BIM manager on your project access to the model coordination and document management modules, but not the project management module. You could define this in your settings so that anyone marked as a BIM manager has the same access to those two modules, but not another. There are actually 36 predefined roles that are standardized in BIM 360, but you can also create custom roles to meet the needs of your company and the BIM 360 site. So, as I mentioned, that now leads us to permissions. Not everyone on a project needs access to edit files. In fact, having a view-only setting can be critical to protecting intellectual property and maintaining security. What this means, and what this video is showing, is that we can set levels of permissions for files within BIM 360 docs so that different users have different permission levels depending on the project, the company, and or the role of the user. I won't get into the minutia of the different options here, but overall the idea is that we can set permission levels where users have different versions of access, such as view only, upload only, view and upload, or view, upload, and edit. And then finally, admin level permissions, which grant access and control to pretty much all files and settings within the BIM 360 platform. So for example, you can add someone to a project, whether it's an owner's rep or a subconsultant, and give them permission to view files within a folder, but not be able to download or edit that information. This is critical if you wanted to share project files or design documents for some level of external review, but don't necessarily want to risk losing key information. Ultimately, what all of this means is that you have granular control over the folders and the subfolders as to who is granted access and how much to that information that's housed in BIM 360 docs. Now, to the real meat of what BIM 360 Docs is actually capable of. I want to review how we can manage design changes with markups and other tools. In BIM 360 Docs, we always have access to the latest versions of information because as information is uploaded or published to Docs, we will see the most recent version of files, models, etc. In addition, Docs will retain a complete history of every file version. So having this file archive allows project members to easily view, download, or even revert back to prior versions if necessary. Now, for whatever reason, my embedded video doesn't seem to be working here. So let me just pop this up and show you this video here. So we can also compare 2D and 3D file versions. As you can see from this snippet video that's playing, we can compare files and apply filters in order to display changes so that we can see those changes from one version or a file to another. As you might imagine, this makes the comparison process much easier, and we no longer have to manually discover changes between files by flipping back and forth and so on. One of the most powerful tools in BIM 360 is the ability to communicate consistently with all project teams and from the same platform, making it that single source of truth that I've mentioned a couple times now. Pull up one more video. So you can see in this video, we have quite a number of different markup tools at our disposal for bubbling, sketching, making notations, and these tools are all available on a desktop or a laptop or a mobile device. This information can be saved in the form of what's called issues or markups, and most importantly, we can send notifications to any team members via email through BIM 360, notifying them of the issue or markup as it's created. They'll receive an email notification and link directly to the markup or the issue in BIM 360, where they can then go back into the source file, i.e. the Revit model, CAD file, etc., to make those changes noted and then respond back through BIM 360 once those changes have been completed. Or they can ask questions through BIM 360, ask additional questions regarding the markups or issue prior to making those changes. All right, so next we have the BIM 360 Design module. BIM 360 Design, which was formerly known as Collaboration for Revit in the legacy version of BIM 360, which was BIM 360 Team. So again, basically the BIM 360 Team is now BIM 360 Docs, whereas, oops, I jumped ahead, my apologies. There we go. BIM 360 Docs is formerly BIM 360 Team for all intents and purposes, and the Collaboration for Revit module is now BIM 360 Design. It is a module in the BIM 360 platform which allows teams to collaborate on a single model simultaneously in the cloud. If a team member doesn't have BIM 360 design, they are not able to work share on a Revit model in the cloud. It allows teams from multiple locations and offices to collaborate on a Revit central model or models and sync all of those changes in real time. Once again, this brings us back to that notion of the single source of truth with regards to project models. Similar to what we just saw in the previous video with docs, users can view, create, and assign issues on models or documents and send to anyone through the Design Collaborate module. After publishing a model from Revit to BIM 360, the models, sheets, views, all of those will be available for your team or whomever you've provided permissions to review before sharing with other teams. When you're ready to share your models with the other teams, you will need to create what is called a package. This gives you greater control over which version of the model you want to share. And to do so, you would go to the Design Collaboration model as shown in this image. So the project timeline you see here on this image shows you any packages, in other words, models, sheets, views, that any teams have shared in BIM 360. The timeline also shows the different versions of the packages through the BIM 360 project history. Each team can control which version they use as their link into their Revit models. As I've noted here, the project timeline allows you to see what the latest models you have shared are, and whether the teams are consuming them, in other words, are using your latest models. This is important for teams to coordinate effectively. One final note, email notifications can be sent to individuals and or groups of people who want to consume the packages once published. So this is similar to most activities in BIM 360, so you can better coordinate in real time with information that you're transferring back and forth as well as collaborating on. Now let's get to BIM 360 Coordinate. As I've touched on a bit, BIM 360 minimizes unnecessary rework by putting 3D model coordination to the hands of the whole project team. Anyone who has proper permissions can instantly visualize the impact of model changes on the overall project through automated clash detection. And like other modules, issues and comments can be assigned to other team members so we can solve constructability issues earlier and faster. In many construction projects, clash detection only focuses on a certain number of high-level priority issues. What this means is that quite a number of smaller clashes can go unresolved prior to construction and won't be resolved until construction is taking place, thus causing quite a bit of rework, time, money, so on and so forth. So what are the key capabilities of BIM 360 Coordinate? It can identify costly issues through constructability reviews and improve trade coordination. By allowing users to visualize these design changes and clashes on one platform, we can assign coordination issues with details such as the type of issue, the location, and due date, all right there in BIM 360. This, of course, can speed up the process and help increase accountability. Or users can even mark clashing objects as not an issue to remove some of the noise from clash detection. As far as automating clash detection and speeding up reviews, when models are published or updated, clash detection runs automatically. This provides teams with quick visibility into the impact of changes. Users can view clashes across all published models in a coordination space if they choose. They can also use heat maps to identify areas with the most clashes to prioritize efforts. Users can also view aggregated models and filter by discipline if they so choose. So you can access models online or offline, and you can easily pan, zoom, and orbit the models, and you can create walkthroughs. By using the filters based on discipline, you can see clashes across published models in a coordination space, or you can just compare two models at a time if that's what you need to do at that time. Now, we all know that BIM coordination can be hard, but it can be worth it. A well-coordinated project can result in cost savings and a project that stays on schedule. However, the typical coordination project can be costly. As you can see in this graphic, due to the siloed nature of how typical coordination is performed, there is a lot of lost time and money due to one individual being responsible for things such as gathering the data from each discipline, uploading it into their software, aggregating it, running clash detection, identifying the issues, manually assigning ownership, then distributing the clash model reports, and then going through this process over and over and over again until resolution is reached. However, Let's take a look at how BIM coordination process can change with the use of BIM 360 Coordinate. So as I mentioned, the traditional coordination cycle centers around a single person using specialized software like a Navisworks to carry out the coordination process. Yes, this process certainly works, but it can be cumbersome, certainly prone to human error, and limits the number of issues that can be reviewed and resolved before construction begins. If BIM 360 is used, all models are published to a single cloud-based repository. This not only opens the door to add a layer of automation to the clash detection process, but also allows a broader set of stakeholders to participate in coordination efforts due to the ease of access. When models are published or updated in BIM 360, clash detection actually runs automatically in a clash matrix, allowing all team members to identify and resolve clashes on their own, as well as notifying other stakeholders of these changes. This time savings can allow the BIM coordinator to become less of a traffic cop and more of an expert to guide and troubleshoot, and also focus more on preempting problems and identifying trends. So by giving access to all team members, each one who can bring their own expertise, we can also reduce some of the noise by removing clashes and issues that don't really need to be addressed in the coordination meetings. For example, let's say someone can mark a clash as not an issue in the BIM 360 platform so it doesn't appear again with future iterations. And now everyone knows that it doesn't need to be addressed and can move on to other issues at that point. Of course, there are many times when a clash is in fact a clash. In these cases, BIM 360 offers a robust workflow to communicate those problems. As clashes are as they're reviewed, teams can assign a single clash or a group of clashes to someone, and this can be done directly in the clash itself, and all relevant parties can be notified. Let me bring my browser over here to show you, kind of do a live demo of how this works. So if you're in the BIM 360 website, this is what it looks like. We'll see a couple more slides like this. But basically, in the model coordination tab, here I have two models loaded up together. And what I can do is I can select these and I can click on view. Now I'm not going to do this because I already have it loaded up in another tab. So once I click view, this is I'm going to get this result here with those two models combined to each other, and then everything color coded, and we can start to explore specific clashes in this model. So let me just click on this one here, and it'll zoom in. It'll start to color code any of these clashes. So you can see here, between the structural and the architectural, we have some slab issues here. So we can start to review all of the different clashes that may be happening. Let me see if I can grab something that is, there we go. Various clashing issues that we would see in this particular model. So with a clash assigned, an email notification will be sent to the assignee, allowing them to access the issue directly. They can then view the details, respond with comments, include attachments, and even update the issue status. The model changes can then be reviewed, and the issue can be closed out when the clash has been resolved. Furthermore, in the issues side panel on the left side of the screen that we see here, users can view the details of assigned clashes within model coordination. So the details about the clash are captured and automatically added at the moment of creation. However, this panel also allows the users to edit these details, add information such as location, due date, add attachments like screenshots or other information, and users can also update the status, view everything that has happened on the issue, and then communicate to other project members via the comments thread in the activity stream. Essentially, project members can communicate anything about the problem that has been identified, once again bringing us back to that idea of that single source of truth. To further aid in organizing this information in the Assigned Clashes tab, it allows users to see a list of clashes with details such as ID number, status, due date, company, and assignee, as well as link back to the model view with those preserved clashes being highlighted. So it would take us back to what I just showed you in the web browser. It would take us back to that specific clash if it were marked in this table here we see on the left. So on the right, in the unified issue interface, that allows users to view issues across the entire BIM 360 platform. You can filter them by where they originated from. So in other words, were they design type issues? Were they coordination clash type issues? So on and so forth. This makes it clear where they originated from and can easily be filtered for reporting purposes. Ultimately, the coordination process is never going to be completely automated. We all know that. And there are many areas of coordination that still need the expertise of a coordination, a VDC, or a BIM manager, as well as a powerful desktop coordination and pre-construction tools like Navisworks for more complex workflows. But the benefits of supporting coordination workflows in BIM 360 are pretty clear. More involvement by more people on a team earlier in the project and with controlled access to the info that they need will keep the project team in sync and constructible models in a shared location without the bottlenecks that currently exist. So the last module that we're going to cover today is BIM 360 Build. As I had mentioned earlier, the Build module provides a platform for project and field management, such as creating and tracking submittals, RFIs, issues, safety logs, project checklists, scheduling, on and on and on. And notably, the Field app, which is used on mobile devices, gives you the ability to track all of your activities on the job site through those mobile devices. Construction project management includes a wide range of tasks and issues that must be identified and then communicated to various team members and then managed throughout the entire construction process. And with so many different people on different teams working in BIM 360, it is critical not only for the process to be intuitive, but also to be consistent from one module to the next. Since information is created and passed along through different modules in BIM 360, depending on the users and their roles and their permissions, as well as access to said modules and folders, project managers need to be able to view, analyze, and manage all this information in the context of the project as a whole. Some of this can be done in other modules, but for the purpose of this presentation, I want to explore Build with you and show you how BIM 360 starts to help streamline the construction management process. So I want to start off this part of the webinar regarding Build by first going back to what I touched on in Coordinate a few minutes ago regarding the unified issue interface, which can be accessed through both the field management module in Build as well as the document management module in Docs. Again, working to tie these modules together to achieve that single source of truth here. So as you can see in this video snippet taken from Docs, this interface allows us to perform a number of tasks with our list of issues. We can filter by discipline or type. We can review the details after we've drilled down. We can look at the issue in the actual model itself. We can create or review attachments pertaining to this issue. And we can check the activity taking place with regards to the issue. The unified user interface allows us to manage all of the design work tracking, quality, and safety issues from a single centralized issue list. We can customize how it functions so that it jives with your current office workflow if necessary. And again, it can pull information from all of the other modules in BIM 360, making it more collaborative than our current traditional workflows. Finally, we can take the information from multiple sources and start to break it down, or accumulate the information in order to run detailed reports that can be used to help capture root causes and gather trends for these issues. In the project management module in Build, we're able to create, review, and assign RFIs. Digitizing the RFI process through a shared data platform is the first step in really eliminating some of the unnecessary pain that we are all too familiar with in regard to the RFI process. This video snippet here is showing us how easy it is to search RFIs in BIM 360. Although it is granted a pretty basic function, the ability to search through all of your RFIs via a keyword adds some pretty powerful functionality we don't necessarily get with traditional methods. This search function will not only read through your RFI titles, but it will also scan text within the question field, the text within suggested answer fields, as well as the RFI ID number itself. Let's use a real-life example to help demonstrate how you might use this feature. So you're sitting at your desk when a project executive walks over and asks you a question about the progress of the installation of flashing on the roof. You remember seeing a few RFIs related to the flashing, but can't remember when or where. With this search functionality, you can quickly find any RFI that is related to flashing, whether it is in the title or not, and get up to speed on the status pretty quickly with them there at your desk. As part of the Insight module, we can quickly generate a report directly from within the RFI tab as well. So we can, so not only can we create reports and send off, via email to various people, what we can also do is set up a custom schedule to automatically send out RFI reports. So, for example, you can set up a recurring report for all open RFIs that would get distributed at the end of each week to specific people on the project team. BIM 360 also supports the ability to set custom numbers for all of your RFIs to match your current standards. I know not a huge deal, but we can also create sub numbers or point numbers for a version of an RFI if we need to reference a previous RFI. For example, you may have initially created RFI number 102, and then later down the line needed to ask a follow-up question from that original RFI. Rather than creating a new RFI that generates whatever number comes next in the sequence, users can customize the number to be RFI number 102.1. This flexibility helps keep all relevant information together and easy to find. You can also have settings where, unless an RFI is actually issued, it doesn't take on the number, the customized number in the platform. Therefore, if an RFI kind of goes away, it's not going to mess up the sequence of numbering in your submittal log. Obviously, an active construction site poses unique challenges every day. Unexpected weather issues, labor fluctuations, and other factors can all impact the actual work that is completed on any given day. And it certainly adds to the overall stress of construction project management. The daily logs feature allows us to accurately document, organize, share, and quickly locate any recorded site activity for a specific day or a date range, all from a mobile device. Users can log weather conditions, detail labor metrics, upload photos, and add progress notes to create daily project snapshots that are easily accessible whenever you need them. So, for example, if heavy rainfall negatively impacts work on a certain date, you can chronicle how the weather conditions affected daily construction activities for that day. Unlike our paper-based logs, BIM 360's daily logs provide an aggregated view of site activity that can be quickly referenced, edited, and shared with anyone that you want to. On the left, we see a still image of a blank log from a desktop. You can create custom templates for how you want these logs to be displayed and how you want that information to be entered and edited. You have the ability to set permissions for viewing, for editing, and creating the comment. What this does is this ensures that the right people from the right companies have access to the correct information. On the right, you can see a short video of what it looks like for someone in the field on a mobile device to access the daily logs, then edit the information, add notes, and then publish that information back to the project management module to be seen and or assigned to the proper parties, and can be viewed, as I mentioned, both on mobile devices as well as desktops in an office or a job site trailer or something of that nature. Here you can see someone accessing that same log in the field on a mobile device and adding pictures from that device to the log, which of course can be accessed in the field on that same device or from a desktop in an office from any location across the country. And finally, here you can see where someone can save time by copying information from a previous day's logs to help streamline the process. So rather than starting each daily log from scratch, you have the option of copying information from a previous entry. This can obviously be a helpful way to save time if certain metrics and activities are consistent on a certain day of the week. So I just want to pop back in here. We have a few minutes. I just want to show you again what the BIM 360 platform looks like, just to give everybody that isn't familiar with BIM 360 what BIM 360 looks like a little bit at its face value. So a lot of these models that we were just talking about are available up in what is a lot of people are basically calling the waffle here. So here's where we see a number of these different modules that we just talked about. So I mentioned the Insight tab. This is where all of the data in BIM 360 gets collected and can be used for reports or analytics. Our project home is basically a landing page for all for any given project. You have one BIM 360 site that hosts all of your given projects. Now, the document management module, this is BIM 360 Docs. The project management and field management modules are part of the build that we talked about. Design collaboration obviously is part of coordinate, as well as design collaboration is part of BIM 360 design, and model coordination is part of BIM 360 coordinate. And then we have project admin and accountman. Not every user would see all of these. It depends on what modules the company has purchased and what modules have been assigned to specific users. So we here at Microsol Resources have kind of admin rights to our BIM 360 platform. So I have all of the modules available to me. But what would happen is I click on each one of these. It takes me to another splash screen in my project, which provides the information for that module. Here you can see we're in BIM 360 Docs, so I have my file structure over here. It's pretty simplistic in this particular project, but it can be as kind of detailed or as broken down as you want it to be. And here's where we start to control some of those things that we were talking about previously in terms of the issues, organizing issues, creating, transmitting issues and reviews, so on and so forth. Design collaboration. This is for everybody working on a single building model at the same time. This is where, so here you can see I had shown you before. I don't have any models loaded into this one, but this is where we would be able to see the multiple models that are loaded into a project. And here is where the timeline that I showed in that one slide. This is where you would be able to access the timeline of different packages that were either submitted or consumed. And then, of course, we have access to, as I mentioned, our project management. So here you'll see where, in this module, this is where some of the video snippets that we looked at, where we have access to our RFIs, our submittals, checklists, all those types of things once it loads here. So here are our RFIs and our submittal tabs. I showed you the coordinate space as well. That was here. So here we can look at issues, we can look at our clashes, and I showed you. So if I select any one of these particular clashes, I can drill down, and then I can use my markup tools down here to essentially assign those, create an issue, and email off to a client.